sometimes. So
let me do it. Got it.
Got it. Dodie, you are the queen. It's absolutely awesome. So let me just get to sharing my screen, and we will get to it. Push the magic buttons and off we go to the rodeo. All right, so Dode, give me a thumbs up that we're actually looking at the first slide. Thumbs up. This is awesome. My new Mac is working. Yay, happy days. Well, listen again, thanks everybody. Welcome to tonight's magic show. And you guys are probably getting tired of this. Those have been here a few times. We do magic shows, not webinars, because who wants to go to a webinar, right? We're going to have some fun. So for those that are not familiar with the Full Circle experience, we have a 4-part model that I actually developed 25 years ago when I started coaching, which is based upon 4 pillars, 4 legs to a table, if you will. Vision, because you can't hit a target you can't see. Let's be clear, right? So getting clarity about your vision, what you want your life to look like, what you want your business to look like, and how the two things are married is really the important parts to our process on vision. And then with the focus pillar, focus leg to the table, we ensure that anything that's in the way of that vision expressing itself as fully as possible, and that's an interesting word to use, the word fully. That's really what the focus blocks are. They're blocks to the manifestation of your innate vision to the world. So that is an important pillar. And then the systems are the acronym for systems that we use at Full Circle is saving you significant time, energy, and money, because the classic entrepreneur situation, which was certainly my way of being in the world for many years, was to just use my energy and my enthusiasm and my passion to run enthusiastically, occasionally in the wrong direction, quite frankly, but at least I was moving efficiently. And the systems allow you to work on your business, wink wink, not just in your business, right? And then for the vast majority of people we worked with, there's a team. And the team is, the acronym we love, there's together, everyone achieves more. And so if you want to create scale, you want to make a bigger impact with your life, with your business, having a team allows you to create that leverage and that scale, right? So this is how it all looks when it all spins together, right? The essence of who you are, as depicted through your core values, gives us the clarity that is your vision. And then we work through the focus blocks, support it with the systems and team, looking at the skills, tools, and networks and resources that you need in order to do that. So we are big on personal growth in our company, because to me, the growth of a business is all about the growth of the human. And without growth in a human, it's improbable, not impossible, but improbable that you're going to see the fullest growth that you can get in the business. And of course, making more money is something that is not a bad thing, particularly when you actually have time to enjoy it. And so my wife and I have been watching this, one of my nephews who's a performance coach. He's got a PhD in sports psych, works with athletes, and he wanted me to watch this. I think it's Showcase Billions. I don't know if any of you've seen Billions. It's been out, I guess, for a few years. And it's interesting because here's this guy, the one episode we just watched, the guy just crossed the 10 billion mark, the decabillion. And not that happy of a guy, but it looks to the character he's playing, right? He doesn't enjoy the money that he has, right? So we are all about quality of life and quantity of dollars, so that you get a chance to have a heavier proverbial cake and eat it, right? So that's for those of you that aren't familiar with who we are. Tonight, we're going to celebrate the past year and plan the new year. And the reason I started this program with celebrating the past year is because I was in a program years ago, you guys, a very important program in my life, with my wife, actually, a self-development program, if you will. And one of the exercises that we were doing is based upon the old Werner Erhard S work, is we were going to break an arrow with throat. And you're supposed to put it right in that really soft spot, right in your, just above your SC joints there. And when I first saw the guy talking about this, I'm like, yeah, I'm an outdoorsman. I hunt with arrows. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's absolutely effing insane. Like, are you kidding me right now? And then I watched them do it on stage and I went, and again, the whole process, you get into state like you do when you walk on hot coals, which I've also done and stuff, right? And then I went ahead and I broke this arrow on my throat. And the thing that went into my head as soon as I did that, you guys, was, well, that wasn't very hard, right? I was terrified, like crap in my pants to do this thing. And then I did it. And the first thing in my inner voice was, well, that wasn't very hard, right? And so the guy that was debriefing the program he says, okay, well, let's go debrief that, and let's hear what was going on inside your mind. So who were the people here that said some version of, and he used my exact words. He goes, who here, as soon as they broke the arrow, even though they were terrified, well, that wasn't that hard. And I'm like, me, right? And there was only 7 of us in a group of 700, it's a very big program. And he looked right at me, looked like right in my soul. And he goes, why don't you celebrate your own greatness? Why don't you celebrate your wins more? And it's like, shit. I was so busted, you guys, right? And you know what? There's a saying that I have that we use at Civil Circle a lot. You can't leave a place you've never been. As much as you're going to try and get in Dr. Jonathan's luggage and go to Cabo San Lucas next year to his AGM with his team, if you've never been to Cabo San Lucas, you can't leave there. So if you can't own and celebrate your greatness, if you can't own and celebrate your wins, it is improbable you're ever going to grow from that. You're ever going to leave there. Okay. So geographic proximity is one side of the metaphor. The other one is you've got to be able to own your wins and own your greatness. Without that, I would offer the probability of getting and doing what you want to do in the next year is very, very, very slim, because everybody that I've ever asked this question to wants to make a difference with their life. They want to leave the world a better place than they found it. And you know what? Even though I know some of you have asked you this question several times, I want to play a little bit here. Let's see if we can get in the chat. Who in the chat, by placing some things in the chat, let's get active in the chat, you guys. Who wants to make a bigger difference in their life? I want to see some either yeses or not so much for me in the chat. Who does that? Josh says a me, Dodie says a me, Jonathan's of course, moi. Kira, yes, Ruth, yes. Yes, again, I've said this many times, but it doesn't matter where I'm presenting or speaking. Literally, everybody, 99.9% of the people want to make a difference with their life. So the question is, how is it that you are doing that or want to do that? And do you want to do it on a bigger scale? So let's dive down this rabbit hole. Here are some of the things I've been observing in the last year or so, because apparently we're in a rather unique time in human history. And there is definitely some folks, and because I come from Canada, the Chamber of Commerce for Canada right now is predicting that your average small business owner has added $170,000 worth of debt in the last 18 to 20 months, 170,000 on the wrong side of the balance sheet. Okay. Now, hopefully that's not too many people or anybody on this call, but I can tell you right now that cash flow for a lot of businesses, for a lot of people is tight. And it's difficult to look forward to plan the next year with any sort of velocity, or amplitude when the cash flow is tight, right? So this is definitely something that some people are feeling, and we've talked to a lot of folks out there that are having some challenges with this, right? It's a frustration. There's a lot of people also that are just, because the world is so unstable right now and there's things going on, and because cash flow is tight, they don't know which way to go. So they feel like they're spinning their wheels, right? Wait, is it in the last 20 months felt like they're spinning their wheels? Somebody give me some activity in the chat here. Anybody felt like they've been spinning their wheels? Dodie says she's been spinning at times. Yep, I can tell you I have spun my wheels in the last 20 months. Kind of, Josh says, okay, that's a good sign. The last 6 months, Stephen, yeah, I've been spinning. The people we talk to that are interested in working with us, there's definitely been some folks who have been frustrated by that, right? And there's, to me, because my highest core value is expressing optimal human potential, exploring and expressing, it feels, if I'm not like rapidly making progress towards my dreams, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Everything's relative in life, of course, right? But that's spinning my wheels for me. So it's all a relative statement, you guys, right? And of course, what ties to that, and it sort of goes hand in glove with the spinning the wheels, is what the hell should I be doing next, right? And I tell you, if you have ever felt that, it's programmed into the biology of the human being, right? Because one of the laws of basic principles in biology is survival of the species, right? So one of the subtext headers to that particular principle is conservation of energy, right? So if you don't know what to do, you're better to do nothing, because at least you're conserving energy and you're not going to go enthusiastically off in the wrong direction, as I have done at times, just, for the sake of doing something. So there's a lot of people right now we're finding that are just stuck. They're just like standing still. And again, it's hard to look forward and plan a great year when you're standing still and you don't know what to do next, right? So we definitely want to solve that tonight as we work through celebrating the past and planning the future. Because ultimately, you guys, most people have this in the back of the brain somewhere. It's the proverbial definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. And if your business, your life hasn't been growing as efficiently and expeditiously as you'd want, right? Then you can also get into that same kind of piece as the, I don't know what to do, so it's better to do nothing, where you literally just, slow yourself down and go, you know what? I'm not insane. I don't want to be labeled that way. And so I'm not going to keep, doing things that are the same all the time, right? So that's one of the reasons I love forecasting, of planning, because you get a chance to look ahead after you've looked back. I'm going to talk about that as we go through this, right? Here's what my observation is. Freedom is one of the things that we all want. Freedom from the mishigas noise that's in the back of my head at times, and maybe in the back of yours. By the way, just actually, somebody give me a little wave. Have you ever had any of that, like weird little talk in the back of your head? Anybody ever had that? Says you that you're maybe a little bit, off. Yeah. Well, that's freedom from that, right? And if you have a plan and you have a direction and you have tools and you have support, the probability of having that mental freedom is really high. And then, of course, what comes with that is growth and development. And what comes with that is literal freedom to work the number of hours you want, when you want, where you want, with who you want, generating the revenue you want because you're offering a tremendous service, right? That's the kind of freedom that I want for everybody. It's the kind of freedom I want, for sure. And also, but everybody that I've talked to of recent wants, not just of the recent, but in my 25-year coaching career, they want to see that they're moving forward. They want to know that they're making progress, right? That's something that everybody that I've talked to wants to have. So actually, you know what, just humor me, you guys, in the chat. Who wants some progress this coming year? And maybe that's one of the reasons you're on the magic show tonight, right? Steven says, I want it now. Yeah, you're darn right, buddy, and you deserve it now. Ruth's definitely looking for some progress. Some other people join us here. Yes, we will have amazing growth in 2022. Jonathan, I know that's true about you, sir, because you've got an amazing team, amongst other things. Loads of progress, Josh says. And Josh, man, from what I've been hearing, you're crushing it anyways, buddy, which is awesome. Getting some good progress on that front. And so again, the probability of having progress is magnified by thousands of folds when you have a proper plan, which we're going to develop tonight. And by the way, just so you know, this talking head will shut up eventually in this conversation, and we will actually get down and do some. So just somebody give me a wave. Did you get the worksheets by email? Somebody give me a wave. You get some worksheets, hopefully, yes, because we're actually going to work on those together tonight, because we want to make these conversations not just a talking head. We want to make them didactic. We want to actually have you leave here with most of the work done. Jonathan, you were great at the last program we did, the Blueprint to Mastery. You said, I got cool ideas, but I didn't get a chance to actually work with them. And now I got to go and spend the time to go, I've got to invest all this other time to go do the work. So we want to make sure we're building time into these conversations for you guys to do some work. And of course, a plan. We've talked a lot about a plan already. And I can't imagine, my wife and I had the privilege of building at that point in our life, our dream home. And if you've never had the privilege to do that, I highly advocate for it. It was an amazing experience for us. I was so naive, I actually chose to become the general contractor. Yeah, that was an effort in futility, but I had some good support and I got through it actually. And we built our 5,000 square foot dream home from start to finish in exactly 17 weeks, which was almost unheard of at the time, particularly with a rookie general contractor, okay? But I can tell you guys, there's no way in Hades heavens that we would have been able to do that, period, particularly in 17 weeks, if we didn't have a plan, we didn't have a blueprint, right? And Tony Robbins' teacher, Jim Rohn, is famous for saying that most people plan their vacations better than they plan their lives, right? And so having a plan is absolutely paramount to knowing where to go and how you're going to get there. In my example, it was how to, put the footings in and how to build the foundation and then how to put the first floor on, where the windows went, and all of those kinds of details. So those are absolutely pivotal pieces to moving forward. Because ultimately, you know what? I would offer this, you guys. Fulfillment is the end result of knowing really clearly who you are, clearly elucidating your vision for your life and your business, releasing the focus blocks, designing and working through and manifesting the systems and enrolling the team to support you. Out of that comes not only prosperity and abundance, but also comes joy and fulfillment. And it's that inner sense of being, done at the end of the week and going like, you know what? I contributed this week. I made a difference in people's lives this week. I don't know about you guys, but that lights me up. It's one of the reasons. And by the way, just if I start to nod off, would someone just, maybe text me or something, someone knows me well, because for some reasons, my inner voice decided that 10 to 4 this morning was a good time to wake up. So I'm not too sure what's up with that. I'm kind of more of a 5:30 guy, but 10 to 4, a little early, but apparently I'm on track. All right, so let's go and have a look at some people that have done this exact thing, okay? This was one of our clients, Dr. Tara Price, her and her husband, Jason, and their business partner, Rob, clients of ours for many years. And when we first met Tara, they basically had no clear plan for what it was they wanted their business to look like. And so again, some of the things that we talked about, some of the frustrations, they felt like they were spinning the wheels, they didn't know what to do next, right? Those were definitely some of the challenges that they had. And so putting together a game plan for them about we got clear on their vision, what it is they wanted, and then laying out the steps, right? Because we can reverse engineer backwards. We're now working in really clear 90-day game plans because that works extremely well. You get laying out too much structure too far in advance. I find people get a little bit flustered by that. So it's good to look ahead and have a plan for the future and know where you're headed for sure. But to get concrete action steps, we're finding 90 days is a really good period of time, right? They also didn't have the support. They didn't know who to turn to for support and for questions that they had about should I do this or should I do that. But again, the way we do it, it's all based upon the vision that people have for their lives, and then we design the plan that supports that, right? The finances were a bit tight, and in their first year with us, they celebrated 41% growth in their already rather large business. So we were thrilled about that. And one of the great joys, one of the fulfillment pieces for me, you guys, in the work I do as a coach consultant, is getting these little snaps or pics or Facebook posts or Instagram posts or whatever from clients that are celebrating great things. Jonathan, the sunset in Tucson, dude, was to die for. It was awesome. I really appreciated you sharing that with us. And Tara, many years ago, one of her dreams, they got 4 boys, and one of their dreams for her and her husband, Jason, was to take the kids to Disney, an all expense paid trip, stay on property and do that. And I can tell you, gang, again, the fulfillment and the joy that it brought me and the team to see those pictures and celebrate that with them was absolutely phenomenal. But one of the keys was again, we had a plan, they had the support, and the growth came as a result of that. Okay. So here's what I have found is the keys, you guys. Matter of fact, the 5 keys in order to really have an effective plan going forward. And we're going to lay those out for you here. So if you're a note taker, which I am, and usually when I'm doing these things, if I'm on the other side of this, you might want to jot these down. We're going to talk about the gap. We're going to talk about the gain. We're going to talk about the value of celebrating, because it's, again, you know what? I could stand in front of a 12-step program and go, hi, my name is Tom, and I don't celebrate my wins enough, right? Literally, I could lead that orchestra. We're also going to talk about developing a plan, and we're going to sketch out a plan for you tonight. And we're also going to talk about the value of having the proper support in your life. Okay? So these are the keys and the things that we're going to work through tonight as we talk about how to lay out an effective plan for the future, but we're going to start by celebrating the past. So let's talk about this thing called the gap. One of my mentors in business is a gentleman named Dan Sullivan. He runs a program called Strategic Coach, which I was privileged to be a member of for a period of time. And Dan laid it out this way, because he's worked with entrepreneurs for almost 50 years, 47 years, I think, is now Dan's coaching career. And he talks about the gap and he talks about the gain. Now, here's the gap, you guys, right? Most entrepreneurs, self-realized, self-actualized, self-motivated, right? By the way, just out of curiosity, put me in the chat if you're either self-actualized, self-realized, self-motivated. Me in the chat. Who is it? Who am I talking to? Am I talking to the right gang tonight, you guys? Please. Just throw that in the chat if that's a me. Yep. Jonathan says yes. Kira, yes. Ruth says that's me. I know there's other folks on here. Get fingers to the keyboard, gang, please. I want to see who's out there that is actually self-realized, self-actualized, and so on. one of the challenges that those of us that are that way in the world, you guys, is that we're constantly looking forward. And it's great to have a vision. I already talked about that. Okay. But the tendency is to look so far ahead. It's like you're looking at the horizon. Now, what's the challenge with looking at the horizon, gang? Doesn't matter how far you go, how quickly you go, the horizon never changes. It's always far the same distance away. And so the tendency then is to feel like you're not making any freaking progress. And I am at times, particularly in the past, was tremendously guilty of this because I just wasn't willing to accept the fact that I can't run fast enough, move enough. My wife says I'm such a hopeless optimist. I think I can get more done in a week than most people, more 3 people can in a year, right? What do you do about that then? How do you measure that? How do you stop always looking at the gap? Well, what you do is you do exactly that. You turn around and you look backwards and you realize the gain that you've manifested. And that's what we're going to work on tonight in our first worksheet. What is it the gain? What have you done? Where have you come from? What have you manifested? What have you achieved? And based upon a recommendation of my nephew, Cassidy, the sports performance coach, I now have a book on my desk, a journal book. And my intention is to not leave the desk until I've written at least 5 wins for the day. Okay. Turn around, just look at the day. We're going to look at the last year tonight, you guys. Okay. But even just looking at the last day and jotting those down is a new habit that I'm choosing to make because it's going to help me to appreciate the progress. Because I don't know about you, gang, but when I'm making progress, it inspires me to do more and keep going. I don't get into the sign of emotional ups and downs. I can actually keep motivated and keep going forward. Okay. So the other thing to focus on and remember, you guys, is the tremendous ripple effect that your life and your work has, and how when you are doing what it is that you're doing, how it ripples out and touches other people's lives. Because without you doing what you're doing and doing it well and doing it as fully and as awesomely as you do, there are other lives that are not going to be touched as a result of that. And because I come, from the healthcare professions from chiropractic, one of my mentors was one of the founders of chiropractic, a guy named BJ Palmer. And BJ has a great saying that says, you never know how far reaching something they think, say, or do today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow. So here I was, you guys, I was on a holiday with my family down in the Dominican, and I was walking across the beach, and all of a sudden and there was several hundred people, or maybe even more than that, maybe even 1,000 people on this big, huge stretch of beach. And I'm just, walking along, going to find where the family had put the umbrella down. And all of a sudden I hear, Dr. Tom! And I'm like, was that you, God? Was that? No, I was like, I heard this voice, right? And it's like, what the hell is that? And then here comes this person running across the beach. And I'm thinking, maybe there's more than one Dr. Tom on the beach. That makes sense, right? Here's this sprinting across the beach. And this person comes up to me, this woman comes up to me, and she goes, Dr. Tom. I said, yeah. And I'm super good with faces, so I recognized her face. But I hadn't seen this woman, you guys, in either 9 or 10 years. She was military. She was stationed here in our city, and then under care for several years. And then she left and was transferred. What are the odds, right? What are the odds that I'm on that particular moment in time, on that particular beach? We're staying at the same resort, and she was a practice member of mine 9 or 10 years ago. And she just went off and saying how wonderful our treatment was and how much she appreciated and how much we impact her life. And it's like, wow, like again, wow, you guys, right? Like another affirmation to just, the reason I get up at 5:30 most mornings. Next day I go to the gym, and she was under care, but her husband was under care. And I go to the gym the next day, and I'm walking through, and I see this guy who's sweating it out on the bench press, and he goes, "Hey, you Dr. Tom?" I'm like, "What the hell is this?" Like, Mouse Club? And I'm like, yeah. And he gets off the thing like that, and he comes running over to me, and I'm like, do I need to defend myself here? Like, what's going on, right? I don't know what's going on. And he walks over, and he sticks his hand out like this, and he goes, "Hey, my wife, Lydia, you saw her on the beach yesterday, right?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Man, I can never thank you enough for the changes and the difference you made in her life." And he went off for like 2 or 3 minutes, just how grateful he was for the care I'd given. Man, I had no idea it impacted that family that much. Like, absolute idea. And so again, gang, it's wise to get out of your own little myopic view of the world and realize that because you're doing what you're doing, you're touching so many other lives. And if that doesn't inspire you enough to make a plan, I don't know what can. But let's talk about a plan, right? There's a beautiful saying that one of my mentors, John DeMartini, has, is you can either fail to plan or plan to fail. You're ending up in the same damn spot, right? Having a plan, you can't hit a target you can't see. I already talked about that earlier, right? So if you don't know exactly where it is you want to go, you're never going to get there, right? It's the story of Alice in Wonderland when she's going down the rabbit hole, right? And she gets down to a fork in the thing, and she says to the Mad Hatter, she goes, Mad Hatter, which way should I go? And he goes, well, where do you want to end up? She goes, I don't know. And he goes, well, then I guess it doesn't matter where you go, does it? How many times in life, you guys, do we get faced with a decision to turn right, to stop or go forward, to go faster, go slower? If we don't know where we're going to go, where we want to end up, it's improbable, if not impossible, that you're going to have the answers to those questions. I will tell you this, it's counterintuitive, but there was a period of time where I was not willing to put a plan out because I felt like it was going to limit me, it was going to horse tie me, it was going to make me feel robotic, blah, blah, blah. It's the same reason why I resisted time management for years. I didn't want to become some stupid robot that just, looked at my planner and said, oh, it's 7 a.m. It's time to go do this. Oh, it's 7:10. It's time to wind my watch. Oh, it's 7:20. Completely counterintuitive, but I had the exact same experience as when I became a planner as when I dove into time management. It frees you. It frees you. And what it does, instead of stifling creativity, you guys, it maximizes creativity. Because when you know where it is you want to go, and you know, those of you that are doctors in this call know this, the neurology of this is your reticular activating formation, right? In the brain, a reticular activating system, depends you read. But that reticular system is the thing that notices things, that is the literally part of the law of attraction if you go into the self-development side of this, right? And so when you have a plan, the right people, places, ideas, and events will cross your paths, but you'll recognize them. You will recognize them because you have a plan, and you'll recognize how they fit into the plan. And what it does for me, you guys, is it quiets down that little voice in my head that tells me that I'm not good enough, or I'm not special enough, or I'm not smart enough, or all that stuff that occasionally shows up. When I have a plan, that guy quiets down and my creativity blossoms. So, by the way, let's time to not be humble pie here, you guys. Who here has put it in the chat, please. Who here, by saying me, has a massive creative side and would like to express more of it? Who here is a creative like me? Love to see that in the chat. Nancy, I'm not sure if that's Jonathan, you're definitely a creative. Nancy, you are 100% a creative. Steven's a creative. Yes, there is definitely. Josh, Jen, you guys are creatives. There's no questions, right? All right. So having a plan helps that creativity get unleashed. The final thing, you guys, to really put all this into perspective is having the proper support. And this is a support of your team, which could be, those people that are in your office or in your workplace every day, but it could also be other people in your life. Obviously your coach consultants, but also your best friends, your bankers, your lawyers, your bookkeepers, your accountants. Those are all people that are there to support you. What I'm strongly advocating for you guys is that you share the plan that you're going to make for the next year with those people and help enroll them in supporting you in whatever way they do, which might just be an attaboy, attagirl, right? Which is worth its weight in gold at times. Sharing my business plans and my strategy for the year ahead with my accountant has been revolutionary because he's helped me look for ways to save money properly and to do tax planning and all that kind of stuff, right? So getting the proper support is absolutely key to making sure that you are going to be able to fulfill on your plans, all right? Well, listen, of these 5 things, you guys, right? We've talked in full circle about the 3 keys to growth, being a plan, having the proper tools and the support. I mentioned this already, right? Without that formula, without that simple 3-part formula, you guys, in my experience, 25 years doing this, the probability of expanding your expression is really, really, really small. So I'm just curious, of these 5 aspects, which one of those is the one that you need to focus on the most in the next year in order to really take ownership of the concept, in order to really be able to move your mission forward? Just throw it in the chat, you guys. Is it the gap and owning that principle of looking into the horizon all the time? Or is it being able to turn and look, celebrate, plan, support? What is it? Kira says the plan. Stephen says the plan. Jonathan says who, not how. I love that, Jonathan. You've been listening. Support to do that. Ruth says the plan and the gap. And I love that word, Josh, the planzilla. That's the sexy terminology, dude. Nancy, you are also a celebrator. Is that correct? I'm seeing celebrate and having a plan. Yeah, cool. So there's definitely different people have different needs and different things they want to be able to do to get this done. All right. So let me just show you. I'm going to show off my absolutely awesome drawing skills here, you guys. Okay, so just bear with me because I was thinking about how I could simplify this concept. And let me just see if I can hit the right buttons here in the right sequence and get my MacBook to do its job and be able to show you guys this really cool diagram that I have here. For some reasons, this screen just went completely black. So Doder, can you come off mute for a minute? Can you see my very white screen, Dodie?
I cannot see your very white screen.
Cannot see the very white screen. Well, isn't that frustrating? Well, you know what? So if I was to draw something right now, it's not showing up, is it?
Nope.
You know what? This is the problem with when you have a new toy. When you have a new Mac,
you're sharing screen? Basically, are you sharing the screen?
I thought I was going to, for sure. I was trying to. So let me just try one more time, you guys. Just give me one moment of patience here, and we will do this thing. Let's see if we can get this done. Oh, come on now. Be nice. Play nice.
The black screen currently.
Oh, wait. Can you see it now, Dode?
Just blackness. It's coming maybe.
Oh, boy. You know what? Let's just try this one last time, and then I'm probably going to give up, right? Let's just see what is happening here.
We have the buffering wheel.
The buffering wheel. Oh, you know what? The rainbow wheel of death.
I've now learned that I used to call it the spinning wheel of death, but now I call it the time to take a breath wheel, right? Because it's like, okay, just, you know what? Breathe, let it go. Because before it was frustrating. Anyway, you're going to have to draw in the air, Tom, or pretend like if you have.
You know what? I'm going to see. You know what? It's just telling me here. I'm getting these nasty messages on my iPad that says I'm just unable to connect. So, you know what? My old laptop used to be able to do this thing. So, you know what? The best part about not being able to share my screen is that you guys can't giggle incoherently at the absolutely god-awful pictures. Not those kind of pictures. Let's be clear, okay? But the picture I was going to give you about the gap in the game, right? So we'll just circumvent that piece of the puzzle, and we shall move on, and it'll give us more time to do some of the other things that I want to do anyways. So we already talked about what you guys are focused on. So let's get into the worksheets. So if you have your worksheets somewhere with you, you guys, I would love to see those and see just where you're at. There they are, Dode. So did anybody get a chance to start working on their worksheets yet? I'm hoping not. Josh, did you get working on them yet, buddy? No. Stephen says no. Did anybody put a yes in this chat if you started working on these already? Because I would love to be able to just work through some other stuff here, right? No. Okay, good. I think people have not, because I would actually want to, my choice would be, you guys, would be to work through this with you guys, and just to make sure that we are working on the celebration piece, because as I told you, that's one of the things that I am going to choose to get better at. So we're going to create the best year ever. And I want to make sure that we've all got context for this, right? But before we do that, I think that we should go back and we should celebrate the past year. So Dode, is that the worksheet that's now showing up on the screen? Yay, team. All right, so you guys, let's go through and fill this out together. If you've printed it out, you can just jot it down by hand. Pen, paper, if you're electronic, that's also cool. I'm going to do it electronically. So let's just work through this together, you guys. And I'd love to see some activity in the chat too, because I mean, you guys will be able to see what I'm working on, but I'm not going to be able to see what you're working on unless you're actually going to share it in the chat with me. So I would really appreciate it if you would do that. All right. So let's go have a look. What was your biggest triumph this year, right? So I'm going to tell you that one of the biggest triumphs that we had this year at Full Circle was we have a new back end. We have many things to celebrate this year, but a new back end tech person whose name is Joe Elias. And Joe is an absolute rock star of all things tech. And those kind of people are not easy to find. And when I worked a brick and mortar business, you guys, for years, the tech piece wasn't that important to me. But when you're working a virtual business, it's absolutely crucial. I would love to see what one, you just name one of your biggest triumphs this year. Throw it in the chat. Who's got one to share? Or because we've got a smaller group, somebody wants to come off mute and share, that would be cool. Jonathan's hired an amazing associate doc who's on fire. I followed Dr. Tom's associate recruiting program, which helped me a great deal. Thank you for that, Jonathan. That's awesome. Josh says marriage is better than ever. Worked on relationship primarily all year, and it has worked. Double thumbs up to you guys. Holy cow, that's awesome. Pay down debt, Stephen. That seems like a wise choice. Kira hired a great associate doc as well. Anybody else? Give us what was one of the biggest triumphs of the year? Anybody else going to throw it in the chat? Well, there's that awkward period of silence, right? Okay. What was the smartest decision that you made? And I can tell you right now, you guys, that one of the smartest decisions that I made this year was hiring a top end operations director. Her name is Tanya, and she is a cross between a pit bull and one of the brightest, most caring, gifted, heartfelt people I've ever met, right? Dodie, what was your big thing? Come off mute, Dodie. We can share that here, right?
I wrote having someone on the bench.
Tell us what that means, Dodie.
Well, Pam has been with me for 18 years, and she's had some health concerns and was not able to be in the office as much as she would like to be. So it was great to have an easy person to call to fill in when needed. So it was nice to have that person on the bench. Definitely created very little stress for me, which is great. Fantastic.
Well, one of the, for those of you that don't understand or haven't heard of the concept of the bench in business, you guys, right? We're big fans of Full Circle of having starters, your primary people, but in sports, on group sports, team sports, you have a bench, right? People that are there to support the starters and go in if they're hurt or they need a break or whatever, you're expanding. And so having a bench of people that you've vetted, you've interviewed, they're not on your payroll, let's be clear, but they're people that you're ready to, bring on. And I've never had anybody tell me, "No, don't keep my resume on file. You suck." Never had it, you guys. I commonly had at least 5 to 7 people on our front desk bench. I had 2 or 3 people on our office manager bench. It's a great concept, and I think it's fantastic. Dan says he joined Full Circle and made a commitment to the next 10 years. Rock it up, Dan. Stephen says he's meeting with his mayor about the business plan for a large-scale project. I love that. Kira's bought the commercial units your clinic is housed in. Oh, Kira, I didn't know that. Wow, that's a super smart decision. All right, what was the greatest lesson you learned? And I can tell you what mine was, you guys. People first, business second. People first, business second. I would love to hear what some of you have got. What's the biggest lesson that you learned in this calendar year, right? Throw it in the chat. If somebody's got something they're willing to just pop off mute for a sec and share, I would love to hear what you've got to say. One of the cool things about having a little bit of a smaller group is that we can actually come off mute. Jonathan says, I have a cohesive team by having weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual effective meetings. Jonathan, where did you learn that? Ruth says, pivot and adapt was the greatest lesson that you've learned. A lot of people had to learn how to pivot and adapt, for sure. Anybody else, throw something in the chat. That would be fantastic. I'd love to hear what your greatest lesson was. Being kind to self, ongoing process, really cool. Josh, staying focused on values and making choice align with those values and watch the world change around you. Dude, you're singing my song. Dude, if you were looking for like stars on your chart tonight, I'm telling you, I'm just going to be like giving you gold stars, Josh, because that is 100% something right out of the mouth of a Full Circle client for sure. So that's cool. What was the most loving service you performed, right? Dan says we're not done and we can still accomplish way more, for sure. Nancy, I'm going to ask you to come off mute. What was the most loving service you performed this past year? I'd really love to hear that because you are just a big bundle of throbbing heart when you talk about service. So what one jumps to mind?
She's thinking about taking herself off mute first.
Yeah, you got to find that
Because
silly
she
mute
is
button,
the
right?
bomb.
What was the question? Sorry. What
Class,
was
what was the most loving service you performed?
Gosh, I'm blank tonight, Tom. I'm blank tonight. You know what? I'd have to say maybe loving and being more kind to myself, which is a lot.
I was hoping you were going to say that. I was hoping you were going to say
That
that.
was so yeah, that's probably the most loving service I performed. And in doing that, I was able to share that love and radiate more love to others, everybody in my life.
That is fantastic.
I would love
you-
to add that to just that ability to connect with people.
Mhm.
You do that so well, Nancy, right? That I tell you, that was one of my favorite calls of the year for me as a coach, right? That call that we had where we talked about connection and how important that was to you and your service, right? So
Mhm.
I can tell you guys, for me, the most loving service I performed was not necessarily the gentlest thing, is that I moved someone on the team to a different seat on the bus. And that took enormous stress off of them. And even though it wasn't necessarily a gentle process, you guys, because don't forget, there's two sides to loving service, you guys, right? There's the soft love and there's the tough love. And the soft love, again, I'll use kids as an analogy. I always find the soft love to be the easier stuff, you guys, right? It's the gentle, it's the high fives, it's the hugs, it's the attaboys, it's the attagirls, it's that stuff. But the tough love, being willing to care enough about somebody, see them struggle. In this case, it was someone who's struggling in a certain seat on the bus in our company. And just, it was my bad in terms of the positioning for this person, because it's not their authentic ability. It's not why the creator loved them into existence to fulfill in that role. And even though it was a tumultuous time and it created a little bit of rocking of the boat, it was a tough, loving service. And I don't know about you guys, but I find tough love much harder to do than soft love, right? But yet it is for me, because it's harder for me, it's actually a greater act of service or a greater act of love to be able to help somebody, in that case, get through something, right? What did you accomplish this year that had previously eluded you? I'd love to hear some stuff there. Jonathan, you are so great at presenting ideas, sir. What jumps to mind when you said, what did you accomplish this year that had previously eluded you? What jumps to mind? Come off mute if you would.
It's really getting my authentic time schedule pinned down. That's made, I haven't been able to do that well. I've just been, oh, there's something shiny over there. I think I'm going to do something different now with my time. And since taking this seminar series with you, I refocused on doing that, and it has been an incredible change for me. So that's I look forward to my time, my have time, my do time, my be time. It's taken so much stress off my schedule because I know exactly what I'm going to do during that time. So that's been awesome.
Fantastic. And Jonathan, again, like we've worked together now for 4 years, right? And you certainly were no stranger to the concept, but just the last tumbler on the safe, combination came together in that training we did last month. And it just like has created that extra momentum and energy, correct?
Yeah,
for sure. Josh, if you're willing to, sir, I'd love to hear this, if you're willing to share, and if you're not, that's okay. But if you're willing to come off mute, that's a fantastic thing you wrote, Healing the Abandoned Traumatized Child in You. Anything you can share with us?
Yeah, Jennifer had made the comment that a lot of the stress that I find myself in and the triggers, the things that trigger me emotionally, show that I was abandoned often in my youth. And I was like, I wasn't abandoned. What are you talking about? And then I started going back and noticing and recognizing all of those times when as a child I was abandoned by my parents, abandoned by my siblings. We moved. There's a big story behind all of that. But for me, in my own heart and mind in my meditations to go back to that child that was abandoned and literally visit him in my mind and hold him and let him know that what I was going through was going to make me the man that I am today, and to thank him and to let him know, look, this doesn't affect your worth. You're amazing. Keep going. You're loved. Thank you for going through this, and comforting that aspect of me that was left traumatized and unhealed. And that's not an easy, loving service to do, but man, does it ever bring you some peace and clarity to operate in your world in the present.
Fantastic share, Josh, man. I'm so, I hope you'll take this the right way, but I'm so proud of you, because that takes a lot of courage to do that work, right? That's tough inner work, right? It's kind of stuff we do at retreats. And it's, but again, as you said, just the ripple effect into every other part of your life, man, the clarity you get and the power you get, right? I mean, that just is double thumbs up on that. So congrats on that. All right, you guys, let's go through the 3 people that had the greatest positive impact in your life in the past year, right? I'm really interested to see. I can tell you that my wife, Shelly, and we have been married 38 years. And again, I still don't know exactly how that happens. We've been childhood sweethearts. We were actually in high school together. We dated in late high school as seniors and went on to build this life together. You know what? It's amazing that after 38 years, we've just gone to another level of depth in our relationship, right? Love that woman more now than I did last year, which is way more than it was a decade ago. And I thought I was crazy about her 38 years ago. So, and number 2 would be my grandson, Finley. Finley has just absolutely been amazing influence on my life. He's 2.5 and he calls me Pa, and he absolutely rocks my world every time he's around. Because I mean, a 2.5-year-old has more energy than the Energizer Bunny, and he is just so infectiously playful. And I don't know, man. I didn't feel like I was becoming an old stick in the mud, but nothing like getting a 2.5-year-old and you're getting like little dinky toys on the car on the ground, or you're getting like a stick pony to ride around the house with or something. That playful side, that creative side is starting to come forward, right? And this is actually 3 people, but it's our coaching team here at Full Circle, Dodie, Fraser, and Jay. Incredible resilience and support this year as we've gone through a lot of transformations and transitions, right? So I'm encouraging you to jot those 3 names down, you guys. And by the way, I would encourage you to acknowledge these people, right? Acknowledge these people and have the opportunity to thank them for the important role that they've played in your life, right? All right, what's the biggest risk you took and how have you benefited? Biggest risk you took and how have you benefit? And I can tell you guys, for me, is I brought on business partners. I've been a solopreneur my entire professional career, and bringing on business partners felt like a risk, but it was a very calculated risk because they're amazing people and people that I have 100% trust in. It's been a fantastic partnership. So what's the biggest risk? I'd love to see some activity in the chat, you guys. Put some biggest risk and how you benefited in there. Spending thousands on coaching, Josh. You're definitely saying all the right things tonight, dude. I'm telling you, you're just like gold stars. Bottle of good Merlots in the mail to you. Fantastic. The only word I would offer, Josh, to maybe consider shifting there would be invested thousands in coaching, right? Because as my great mentor said, right, and when you guys get to the Abundant Financial Mastery Program in February 25, 26 in 2022, you'll get this. But he taught me this, and it was such a subtle to you guys, but such an important distinction. He said there's a huge difference between an expense and an investment. And an expense gives you a one-time return. An investment gives you a return for life. And for me, the hundreds of thousands of dollars I've invested in coaching in my life, giving me a lifetime of return, right? So just consider that small tweak in language, Josh, but you're still getting a gold star, dude. I mean, just fantastic. Dan says, joining Full Circle, committing to opening ourselves to being coached. Dan, you are an amazing, you and Robin are amazing people. And yeah, invested. Very cool. Love that, Josh. Stephen says, presenting very personal aspects of my business and design work with 2 city leaders. I'm quite guarded with this info. And there's a reason to be at right time and place, Stephen, right? What important relationship improved? Josh, you already talked about this one, right? That amazing human that's sitting beside you. definitely there. And I would say that for me, important relationship that improved is was literally with, even though it was a bit rocky at times, Coach Jay. Coach Jay and I have had so many crucial conversations this year. It's just been phenomenal. We've been able to practice an awful lot, right? So who is it, you guys? Somebody please give us a chat. What important relationship improved and why it improved? Let's see that in the chat, please. As we work through this time together. Anybody got something in the chat they want to share? Oh, we're starting to get a little bit fatigued, are we? Come on, gang, stay with us. How you do anything is how you do everything. You're getting fatigued at this stage of the night, then I pity your partner and the longevity there, right? Janet says, Mom, yeah, for sure. Stephen, his brother. Dodie, daughter Sarah, one of your biggest teachers. Yep, Dode, no questions about that. Jonathan, deepen my understanding and respect with each of my team members. Yeah, awesome stuff, you guys. All right, the last one is we turn and look again at all of the gain we've had over the last year, you guys. What else, if anything, you need to say or do in order to be complete for the year? And the only thing that I can think of is gratitude to my amazing family for always, and I don't use that term very often, but for always being there. The other thing we have to celebrate, I started talking to you guys, our daughter's 23rd birthday today. She graduated with her MBA. And our daughter, Tegan, who's living on the west coast of Canada, drove literally 3,000 miles home and got home here today at 3:30 this afternoon. So that was a complete balancing act for us because we're dealing with a little challenge in our family dynamic right now. My dad had a stroke last night, you guys, a mini stroke, a TIA. So that's been a bit of a challenge to say the least. And he's hospitalized. And of course, if my says, if you want to get sick, all you can do is go to a hospital, right? So he goes to the hospital with a TIA symptoms that we're actually clearing. And now they've got him under COVID protocol because he had a cough and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, I really hope that's not his path. But anyways, it's life is about balance, isn't it, gang? Right? There's always some things to celebrate and some things to challenge us. That's where growth really takes place, right? So we're growing, and we're going to get in and see my dad in the morning and give him all the love that he deserves. All right, you guys, let's turn to the next worksheet, please. Creating your best year. And we're going to start this off by creating a theme for the year, okay? A theme for the year. And I can tell you that the one at Full Circle this year is the same one as last year, simplicity. I just literally did a revamp, and those of you will see them, clients of ours, you'll see them coming up in this next year. I took all of our review forms, and again, I think I mentioned I was up at 10 to 4 this morning, so you get a lot done when you're up that early. And I invested 3 hours, and I took 4 forms that were long, verbose things, and I simplified them down into 2 very shortened forms, because that is a theme for the year. So let's see some themes, you guys. Throw some themes. What is your theme going to be for the year? Ideally, it's one word, no more than 2 or 3. So what would be your theme, Jonathan, for the next year? Nancy, what word comes to mind? Maybe connection. Just saying. Or it could be whatever you choose. Throw it in the chat, you guys. I want to see some, I want to be inspired by your themes for the year. Acceleration. Oh, Jonathan, that fits really well. Steven says, live fully. Love that in all aspects of life. Who else has got a theme here? Nancy has got a theme for the year in a direct message. That's pretty cool. Vitality, says Kira. Growth, says Janet. And Janet, you know what? Double thumbs up to you, girl. I think with the transitions in your life right now with your mom, with, again, our empathy, my dear, you're going to see some incredible growth. And Josh says growth in all aspects. I couldn't agree more, you guys. Those are great themes, right? What's one thing you can commit to doing more of this year that will allow you to live more consciously through your core values? One thing you can commit to more of this year that will allow you to live more consciously through your core values. Okay. Dan is celebrating 40 years of practice. That's a cool thing. Stephen says plan. Very cool. What else have we got here, gang? Meditate. Love that. Love that. Well, I can tell you guys, this is going to be a sub theme for me. It's probably not going to surprise you. It's celebrate. right? That's one thing I could do more, is celebrate the wins, celebrate the success, the greatness, and get even better at looking at the game, not looking ahead at the gap, right? Delegate all that isn't the highest and best use of my time. Jonathan, I have that literally stenciled on the inside of my eyelids. What is the highest and best use of my time? What is the highest and best use of my time? It is like my thing. Josh says, my capacity for growth in all areas will explode with spending time every week on fitness. So very cool, Josh. I love that. Okay. If you could complete only one goal this coming year, what would it be? And I want you to take a second and just reflect on that, you guys. If you could only do one, and certainly you can do more than one. If you can only complete one goal this coming year, what would it be? What would it be? I can tell you guys, for us at Full Circle, and me as the lead in the team, we are choosing to reactivate our mind, body, spirit retreats, our wilderness properties in Quebec, and I'm totally stoked about that. Currently, it's going to be open to clients first / only. If the program fills with clients, then they will not be open to the outside world. So you'll be getting some more information about that in the coming weeks, you guys. So you got lots of time to plan if you'd like to be there. I know some of you, I know Janet, you've been to the island. What an amazing place, right? Dode, you've been there once or twice, I think, right? Dode, well, more than once or twice, Dode, because you came for coach training. Dan's going to streamline the office. Kira is going to reduce practice hours without sacrificing income. Yeah, baby, I love that. Doty's coming to the island. I see that. Awesome. Josh, you're going to free yourself of the need for HPP medication. That seems very wise, right? Jonathan, hiring third associates. That is very cool. And Jonathan, obviously, I'm happy to be as much a part of that as you would love us to be, right? What advice would you like to give yourself based on what you learned last year? What advice would you give yourself based upon what you learned last year? I can tell you what mine is, you guys. You can adapt, pivot, and continue to make a difference. Because in this particular time, and those of you that watch this recording, maybe years or decades in the future, this is an interesting time in human history. There's this thing called a pandemic going on, and our live events had to be completely turned on their heads. And we went to virtual events, and we have been just beautifully blessed by the support we've got from not only the team, but from our clients. And again, I'm blown away that you can experience almost the entire thing virtually that you can live. Just the thing I miss, you guys, miss the hugs. Man, I miss the hugs, right? That's the piece that isn't quite there. So what advice would you give yourself? Let's hear what we've got coming into the chat here, you guys, right? What's in here? Getting out of development phase to full service. Got some new ones here. Let's see what we got coming into the chat, you guys. Practice or reduce practice hours. Oh, we already talked about that one. Jonathan says, work on having a focused team with absolutely the same vision. Janet says, you can do it. Nancy, correct to continue. Oof, love that. Dan says, train your staff and don't compromise on your commitments. I love that. Ruth says, stay the course. Stephen says, be prudent with borders and who I discuss business with. Kira says, focus my attention only on what counts the most and reflects my highest values. Kira, that is such absolute wisdom. You should put that like inside of a friggin', one of those little fortune cookie things. That's phenomenal. Josh says, get comfortable doing uncomfortable tasks. Ooh, and Josh, you can take that to the bank getting into the gym, buddy, and getting to that next level of physical fitness that you're choosing. Nancy says she's going to invite more ease. Those are all amazing things. Okay. What are you looking forward to learning, right? What are you looking forward to learning in the coming year? Be very as concise as you can, you guys. What are you looking forward to learning? How to write my first book. My old mentor, Dan Sullivan, sent me a Christmas gift yesterday. And it's why every entrepreneur needs to write a book and how to do it. He wrote with Tucker Max, who's a very celebrated author, New York Times bestseller 4 times. So I'm looking forward to getting into that and getting to it. I've got 3.5 chapters written of a book, but it wasn't the form I wanted, so I abandoned the task. All right, let's see. What do you got? What are you guys going to do? Looking forward to learning. What have we got in here? Stephen says he's creating revenue and writing his book. That's cool. Dan, how to delegate. buddy, that is one of the most important lessons you can learn in business to create the leverage and scale that you desire and you deserve, right? Who else has got something they want to learn next year? I know Fraser right now is studying blockchain technology and Bitcoin. It seems like something that's going to be around, or cryptocurrency can be around for a while, so maybe you should understand that better. Who else has got something they want to learn in the next year? Learning to draw, Jonathan, that's very cool. You're super artistic as it is, Jonathan, right? And are you maybe saying that I should learn to draw, Jonathan? Is that also what you're doing, having some fun with me here? I love that. Money and wealth management. Josh, let me say it again. February 25, 26, Abundant Financial Mastery. Be there. Get on your calendars right now, please. Kira says, being content with who I am as a person while still striving to achieve your goals. Beautifully written. Ruth, using social media for business. That's cool. That's a good learning. All right, what change around your health and well-being deserves attention? Josh, you already spoke to this. This is something that's a really huge focus for me because I am very committed to my rituals and my exercise routines and my six-pack and all that stuff. But the one I'm going to focus on, you guys, downtime, just literal downtime. And I get to practice that because tomorrow after 4 o'clock, I'm down for like 10 days, baby. And I'm choosing to do that. I'm choosing to minimize the amount of activity that I'm going to do and just really be present with the family. So what is one thing around your health and fitness that you would like deserve attention, you guys, right? Josh says, six-pack. All right, buddy, you're on. I'm sending you a pic. It'll be a private pic, but I'll show you six-pack, baby. Now, let's be clear. It's a little bit more of a 4-pack currently because of a little bit of fall pudge, but I'm back on the path, right? John says more frequent vacations. Nancy says fitness. Kira says exercise, return to a plan that works. By the way, I saw a really interesting meme, you guys, that really resonated with me. And of course, it led to some sort of a program the guy was selling, but he was talking about how until he brought more play into his fitness, it always felt like work. And most of us work pretty hard anyways, right? So it's like, you know what, bringing play more into your work seems like a really wise idea. Ruth is getting back into healthy rituals that have taken a back seat. Yes, very cool. All right, who on your team deserves more support, training, or development so you can delegate even more, and how will you develop them? So who in your team deserves more support? I can tell you right now, for us, it's Tanya. She just stepped into a new role as operations director. She literally is our bookkeeper. Some of you interacted with her. And, you know, I just kind of threw her into that task. Well, sorry, I didn't throw her. I invited her into the task. We had several meetings. We're doing a beta test into January. She's crushing it right now. I think it's I know it's working for us. I hope it's gonna work for her. But we need to be able to support her in that role because literally her background is in accounting and bookkeeping. And so to get into operations, it's a bit of a shift, right? So that's somebody that I want to see help. Who in your world, you guys, is someone you know deserves more support? Who is that person? And again, it might not even be your work team, you guys. It might be somebody in your personal life or a BFF or somebody, right? So who is that person? Just throw it in the chat right now. CA from prior to her own office manager, Kira, that's very, very wise. I love that. Shazzy is going to be able to really be a big help with you, Kira, that role, right? Who else has got somebody that they want to put some energy into? Dr. Joe Edens, yes. Train him to do some of the CEO duties so he can learn to take over your business in the future. It's very wise, Jonathan, right? Janet is going to work with Christina, your CA. Very cool. Love that, you guys. And having very clear intentions for that. And by the way, for those of you that are already clients, one of the modules that is just gone through a revamp and will be ready in the first week of January is a module I wrote a couple of years ago, but we've only used it internally at Full Circle. It's called the Personal Professional Development Plan. And it's a complete structure for how to create a development plan for yourself or for any member of your team. So it'll be fantastic to be able to share that with you guys, right? All right, what is one as of yet undeveloped talent you're willing to explore? What is that talent? And I'm going to be a bit of a smarty pants here, Jonathan, and I'm going to say drawing. Now, let's be serious for a second, right? One undeveloped talent is writing, you guys, right? That's the thing that I'm going to be focused on, because that book, one of my mentors, John DiMartini, and one of the many times I spent personal time with him, we're having a really in-depth conversation about philosophy and stuff, and we're chatting about things to contribute in the world. And he looked at me like right in the core and depth of my soul, and he goes, "You've got at least 4 books that you need to write. You know that, right?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that, but thank you for that." So I'm on the way. Nancy's going to do some photography. Stephen's composing music, sewing, fashion design. Very cool, very artistic. Josh is going to be focusing on some leadership stuff. That's very cool. Who else has got the talent that they're willing to explore in the coming year? Laying out the game plan, you guys, right? This isn't just a business game plan, in case you guys haven't figured that out yet, right? This is about who you are as a human being, right? Ruth's going to do some pottery. Kira's going to do some furniture refinishing. By the way, my wife Shelley loves that stuff, Kira. Actually, several of my daughters have been involved in that furniture refinishing too. And the stuff, man, they can take this old piece of crud and just turn it into this beautiful thing. It's just phenomenal to me, right? All right, what brings you the most joy? We got 2 more here, you guys. We wrap this up. What brings you the most joy, and how are you going to be, do, or have more of that in your life? Grandchildren are my current greatest joy. I have many joys in my life, but grandchildren and revamping my ATS to include more play time with them is really one of my focuses for the next year. What about you guys? What brings you joy, and how are you going to be, do, or have more of that in the coming year? Love to see how this comes down. I'm going to be the student here and just hear what you guys have got to say. Jonathan is helping each of my family and team members become more successful, living more authentically. Beautiful. I got a coaching program, Jonathan, that they can talk to me about. Good cottage time. By the way, Kira, how are you doing with that? The refinish, the revamp at the cottage. Is it coming together? I'm just curious. Stephen says painting, design, music, fashion, writing the book, planning. That seems to be a recurrent theme, Stephen, for you. Janet says connecting to friends brings you joy. I know that brings you massive joy, Janet, for sure. Actually, Kira, come off mute for a sec if you're still with us. I'd love to hear how the cottage reno's gone. Last year or a year or so ago, you were doing some renos.
Yeah, we're actually building our dream home / cottage. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, a couple of months ago, we actually moved from what we've been living in for 5 years, was just going to be our bunkie, which doesn't have running water, into the actual cottage, the final home. It doesn't have floors or a ceiling, and we just got a shower last week, but one more step up.
We're in there, step at a time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats. Well, I've seen some of the inside, Kira, the beautiful knotty pine and stuff. It's just absolutely gorgeous, right? Josh says he's rocking out on your PRS custom with your son while he plays the electric bass. Cool. By the way, Josh, what is a PRS custom? Pardon my naivety. What is that, Josh?
Paul Reed Smith electric guitar. It's a custom. It's really, really fun guitar to play.
That's cool. And I'm assuming you have some skill on this by the sounds of it?
Enough to sound like I might know what I'm doing.
All right, you're on. Next 12-hour masterclass, Josh. I'm going to get you to rock out at the break, okay?
Which one? Where?
The February one.
The financial mastery?
Yes.
You're on. You show us all your 6-pack and I'll rock out.
Okay, you know what? Game's on, buddy. All right, I gotta take that extra little bit of cushion off the bottom of the 6-pack here, then, just in order to man up here. So, all right, last one, you guys. What major indulgence or big rock are you willing? Listen to my words. I chose these carefully. Are you willing to experience? Which major indulgence or big rock are you willing to experience? And I can tell you, for me, you guys, that my wife and I are moving into our wilderness property. We have 2 of them down that way for the summer months. That is a massive big rock. We've been intending that for a long time. We've got it hooked up with satellite internet so I can work. You guys will be seeing some of these magic shows from the confines of our wilderness properties. I'm really would love to share our retreat experience with those of you that are called to do that. So what major indulgence or big rock? I want to hear about some big rocks, you guys. Big rocks get me very excited because they are just the things that light up life, make life that much more worth living, right? So Josh, don't forget your crossbow, buddy. It lives there, Josh, right? Well, one of them lives there, one of them lives at the other property, but yeah. Let's hear about some big rocks. Big rocks are the juice of life, you guys, right? Cozumel, love that, Josh. That's very cool. Cozumel is a great place. My very first flight of my life, I landed in Cozumel. And the pilot, his name, I swear it was a biblical name. His name was Captain Moses. And I'd never flown before, so I was flying with a friend. I didn't know what to expect. And so we're coming down, and it was kind of choppy over the ocean, and they were going to land on, and then he got about literally 200 feet off the deck, and something went wrong, and he hit the afterburners and went in a really steep ascent that took my breath away. And I'm looking over at my buddy wondering, is this normal? And he's white as a ghost, grabbing for the puke bag. And I'm going, okay, you know what? No more biblical captains on flights. That's enough of that crap, right? Stephen's going to be doing some of the things he wrote about before. Janet, spend time in the sail in the summer. That's awesome, Janet. Let's hear some big rocks that you're willing to experience, right? Takes some planning to really own those experiences. But I'd love to see a couple more, you guys, before we turn the last couple of pages of this particular experience, celebrating the past and creating the future. Home renos, trip to Newfoundland. And Ruth, throw it in the chat. Dr. Tom's retreat. Nancy, you are going to love that experience. I'm telling you, girl. You want to talk about connection. Wow. And Ruth, are you guys moving to Ontario? Is that still in the plans? I'm just curious. Throw it in the chat. Yes, we're. Dan says he's going to start in the planning the dream home. Love that, Dan. Kira, create and roll out my own health coaching online program. Woo, woo, you go, girl. Love that. That seems like a business big rock, actually, right? That's pretty cool. Josh, you might add one more big rock, buddy. You might get your own crossbow. Just saying, just. Hey, then you can come to Canada, come hunting with me, right? All right, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. Looking back over our shoulders at what last year was like and celebrating that, and then looking ahead to what the future is going to look like as well, right? So let's bring this thing in for a landing as we work through the last couple of pieces of the puzzle here. Here is my, and I'm very hesitant to use this word because it feels a little bit on the quote unquote medical side. But here is my prescription. If you've been paying attention to the things we've been talking about here, then here is what I would love to do. Celebrate, you guys. Celebrate your greatness, celebrate your wins, celebrate your successes. And I've been in a mastermind group for over 10 years with two of my dearest friends, Dr. Gilla Marsh, Dr. Liz Anderson Peacock. And we just celebrated our 10th year actually in March of this year. On average, every 2 weeks we get together and just hearts and souls and lives together and support and challenge each other to be the best versions of self we can be. And I was talking about that journal writing where at least every day, my intention is to write at least 5 wins for the day, right? 5 successes. So I can ingrain this and learn to celebrate the wins more, the success more, the greatness more, right? And Liz had a really great tweak for me. She goes, Tom, why don't you just express it as gratitude, right? Because that's really what it is. It's gratitude for the opportunity to share your heart and your soul with other humans, make an impact on their life, play your role on the great orchestra play of life, and then get on and move on. So my prescription for you guys, and again, particularly the timing of this towards the end of the calendar year, celebrate your butts off over the next little bit. And for heaven's sakes, get a plan. Stephen, I'm going to do this in spades for you, right? Get a plan, get a game plan. This is an integral part of our full circle experience now. Every 90 days, we get a new game plan. Actually, I was looking ahead in January, Nancy. I got one booked with you. I know, Jonathan, I got one booked with you early in January. So we've got some game plans where, again, you look to the future, you guys, right? So you're clear about the direction, but then you reverse engineer back to the absolute steps you need to work on for the next 90 days. And so for those of you that haven't done one of those with us before, I would certainly invite you to the opportunity to have that experience. Again, some of the people that have been working with us for quite a few years, Kira, I know you've been working with us for quite a few years. It's a new experience for you, but love to have you in that experience. All right. So 2 pieces, celebrate, passes off, make sure you got a really solid plan going forwards. All right. The next magic show on January the 13th, 2022, you guys, it's going to be how to use a business North Star. Every business, successful business I've ever studied has a North Star, and you absolutely must have a North Star in order to ensure success in life and in business. So January 13th, it's a Thursday, you guys. We've moved them from Tuesdays to Thursdays. It's just going to fit in easier into our scheduling. You'll certainly be getting notifications about that. In the ideal world, we would have had the sign up link right now. I could throw it in the chat. Not happening. We're still working on some of our operational pieces of the puzzle, but throw it in your calendars, January 13th, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for how to use a Business North Star to ensure success. Well, listen, you guys, it's been an absolute joy and a privilege and a pleasure to have you again tonight. I'm really having a lot of fun with these magic shows. I know many of you are going to get tired of me saying that over and over and over and over and over again. But again, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. And the feedback I'm getting from many of you is just makes it all that much more worthwhile. So before we sign off, does anybody have any affirmations that you're willing to come off mute and share? What was the biggest insight you got out of our time together tonight? Nobody ever wants to go first. So who wants to go second? Biggest takeaway tonight. Kira, what's your biggest takeaway tonight for you as an individual?
It was that creating the plan and Jonathan talking about the DTS actually promotes creativity and a feeling of freedom. Because I was always on your side. Like if I schedule everything, I'll just feel all hemmed in and I won't feel creative. So that was a big win to take away.
Very cool. That is worth the energy and time you're here for sure tonight. Nancy, your big win, the biggest affirmation or win tonight. We're celebrating wins, right? What's the biggest takeaway for you, Nancy?
It was to look back and celebrate your wins and see what, and celebrate the accomplishments so that you have, and you move forward with those. So celebrate. Love it. That's cool. Well, we can celebrate together because that's definitely one of my sub themes for the year. Who else wants to chat? Jonathan, your biggest takeaway tonight, sir?
I actually, 2 days ago, I started journaling the 5 wins of my day and what I'm grateful for and what I'm looking forward to. And it's been great. It was just those 2 days was really very, very uplifting. So thank you for that. Appreciate
absolutely, sir. That's fantastic. Well, listen, we can hold each other accountable for ensuring we stay disciplined to the journey. John, biggest takeaway tonight, sir? What was your biggest takeaway? Or Jen?
Mine was the reticular, the RES, that reticular activating system, is part of the law of attraction. That's how we recognize the things, because we have that intention out there that's what we want, and that's how we are attracting what it is that we're trying to bring in for us. And it's part of our nervous system. It's part of our design.
Yeah, it is. 100% it is, right? I'll tell you, I learned that lesson, you guys. I asked my wife, to go out and find us in the vehicle because our family was growing. And before we went into minivan hell, which was a part of our life for a while, and she came back and she just threw the car keys on the desk. She goes, "We're buying that." I go, "What's that?" And it was a great big Lincoln town car. It was a mafia car, for heaven's sakes. The only guy that ever drove those were like those big, mafia dudes, right? And so, and I, to the best of my knowledge, it was the only one in our city. As soon as I bought that car, I noticed in the next 2 days, there were 6 of them in our city, the exact same style, the exact same color, the exact same year. Never seen one before. They were always there, but as you just said, Jen, the RAS wasn't on to notice, right? So having a plan and having direction allows you to notice the right people, places, ideas, and events to move you forward. So super insight, fantastic. Really well spoken. All right, anybody else? Janet, a big insight for tonight before we wrap? And Dodie, I'd love if you
I have one.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Stephen, please.
Well, for me, you provided an amazing soundboard to help me remember what I really need to focus on with the important things in my life and my business.
Very cool. Thank you for that, sir. Then it was worth the time and energy to be here for sure. Thank you for that. Janet, are you still with us? I'd love to hear what your biggest insight was. And then Dan and Dodie, and we'll call it a wrap, you guys.
Yeah, I'm still here. I guess the biggest thing was just the value of looking back to plan forward.
Yep, that was
completing and then moving forward. Yeah.
Very cool. Game changer for me, Janet. Absolutely. That simple concept changed my life, right?
Mhm.
Dan, Robin, your biggest takeaway, sir? See if we can get Dan off of mute here. There he
Sorry,
comes.
got it off mute. I think the biggest takeaway for us is that we have a plan for our future.
Very cool.
We have a plan for our future, and we're starting to work towards it, and it's going to be exciting.
100%. Well, you're getting close to middle age, Dan, right? So it's like the best years are still ahead, right?
I'm still young.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Well, I've been building epigenetically and to live to be at least 129 chronological years, right? So I'm not even middle-aged yet. So you know
No,
what?
no,
The
no.
best years are still to come. And Dan, I know that's true for you too, sir.
Absolutely.
100%. Look forward to being a part of that, my friend. Dode, your closing thoughts, biggest takeaway and or thoughts.
I liked the idea of having a theme for the year because I think it ties into the next series of the seminar we'll be doing, our magic show, is having that North Star. So whenever you get off track, you can, okay, what's the theme, right? So simplicity for Full Circle this year, if it's growth, it can really bring you back and get you refocused again for what you want to move forward with.
Yeah, 100%. Right. And it was interesting this morning, you guys, and working in the, I chose not to turn on any lights. I just had my iPad going with my blue blockers on, and I was working on those review forms as I was telling you guys. And it was like, I'm like, there was like literally pages and pages of material there but I just had that theme of simplify, 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 simplify. And I just literally, I didn't know what to do first. So I just thought that one isn't an A+, it's an A-. So I just deleted it. And once I started deleting, it just got simpler. But as I got going, you guys, it was having that theme in the back of my mind to simplify, 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 simplify was actually the key to me, getting through exercise. And I know that you guys will benefit from that, right? So,
And
all right, well, listen, you guys, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
One
Doug.
other, it's just that it's not all business, right? It's everything. As you're going through the questions there, it was not about like just the growth of the practice or financials. It's about your big rocks and like who's important in your life, your relationships. So then it's just really important that, you're focusing on a whole person in every aspect of that and not just one thing.
Yeah, no question, Dodie. Very, very wisely stated. So, all right, you guys, listen, thank you so much for your time and attention. It's an honor to be a part of your lives, a part of your tribe. I'm honored to be on your team, Dodie and I. Thank you so much for your time and attention tonight. I'm glad that this served. And again, I look forward to more of these conversations, these opportunities to share with you. January 13th, 7:30 Eastern is our next one. So please put it on your calendar. And again, thank you so much for the love in the chat, you guys. I think some of you guys know my love language as words of affirmation. So from my family to yours, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And I look forward to chatting to you guys into the new year. Guys, all right. God bless everybody. Good night.
Merry Christmas. Good night.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.